Hey guys, welcome to another video in the series of Maxscripting, and in this video we are going to take a look at how we can create a 3D grid. So in the previous videos we saw how we could create objects in one axis, which is the x-axis. In the second video we saw how we could create objects in the x and y axis, and in this video we are going to see how we can create objects in x, y and z axis. Here is the script, and I'm just going to go through the script. In the first video we wrote a simple loop where we could just create objects in one direction. We were just offsetting the position in x axis. And then in the next one, what we did was we offset the position in x and y axis, but this time we wrote nested loops. Okay. So for every time we created objects in y axis, we made sure that we created 5 objects in x axis. Now, when we go and create objects in all the 3 axes, x, y and z, what we do is for each time we increment the value in z axis, we say we want to increment the value in y axis for n number of times. Okay, and when we increment the value once in y axis, we create or we increment the value n number of times in x axis, which is where we create objects. So basically, for once when we create or increment the value in z, we are actually creating n into n. So right now I'm just going to say 5, 5 and 5 here. Okay, so when we go from 1 to 5 in z axis, okay, we go 1 to 5 in y axis and we go 1 to 5 in x axis. That means we create 5 teapots in the x-axis. So if you see, this is 1 to 5, all right, and this we do 5 times in the y-axis. So that's why we create a plane every time we create or increment the z value. So every time we go from z, which is 10, right here, if z is 10 to z is 20, we create 5 teapots in x and 5 in y. So that means we create 25 teapots or 25 objects every time we increment the z value once. So this is the power of using nested loops, and nested loops can be n number of times, right? So let's go back to this function and evaluate this function. And now I'm just going to delete all of them. And if you see, earlier we were just taking the number of teapots in x and number of teapots in y. Now we have teapots in z and the scale. So if we evaluate this line, we have 5 teapots in x-axis, 5 in y-axis and 5 in z. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Similarly, we are not bound to just have these values. We can have any value. So 15 in x, 5 in y and 10 in z. I'm just going to evaluate this, and this is the grid that you get. So we have 15 teapot in x, 10 in z and 5 in y. So there is one thing that I really quickly wanted to share as a tip. Right now all these objects are not instances of each other. That means they might end up taking a lot of space. There is a very quick and short line that you can write, which is instance replace. So once you write this line, all of these objects would become instances of each other. So if you see, we have selected all of these teapots and now we can control them from here. So if we want to just have the segments as 2, or if we just want to have radius as 5, we can always do that. Or maybe we can 50. So that is it for the video, guys, and thank you so much for watching.